Alrighty, everybody. Welcome into No Such Time to Main. Yeah, No Such Time to Main. I'm still trying to wake up. My functioning brain is having a little trouble functioning right now, so, um, let me go ahead and I still gotta do something here, so give me 1 second. Put this. I wanted to mute that before anything, and I gotta still share this out to a couple other places real quick. Alright, so one more thing. Give me a few seconds here, we will get started. Alright, and then one more. Which is this one. Copy. I'll be with you guys in 1 second. So, um, yeah. Let me talk about something real quick. So, if you ever get the feeling that, something strange goes on amongst other people, let's just like stop. Let's just like stop. Give me a second. Alright, stop. I don't know, that light's been like doing that lately. It's been flickering quite frequently lately. I don't know if there's something going on. I know there's something going on with the wiring, but Lord Jesus Christ, please make that light stop. In Jesus' name, amen. Yeah, that's not. There we go. Oh, I wish this thing would. Okay, there we go. It just completely. It does that. It'll flicker, and then it'll stop. So, all right. Let me do this real quick. But have you ever sat there and watched a group of people and then watch the group of people um and how they handle things on top of it? And I'm saying on like social media, you follow a group and then you see them on social media and you see how like so hold on. So okay, now let me get back to what I'm saying here. Um so there's been something going on lately where I noticed some trending thing going on between a group and a person. All right. One individual person I talk about here quite frequently, okay? This group, every time something happens with this person, this group is the place that they go. So, what I think is going on, and this is just my perception and what I see out of it, but I think I think what's going on is they do go and make problems for her, so she will go back to them, and they will have something to talk about. They use her for clout. All right, they use her for clout. This is just something when you look at it from afar, you can really see what's going on. You can really see how like you can just really see how you can just really see how like how it goes down because it happens every single time like clockwork. She gets in trouble for something, she goes back to that group, and that group has something to talk about. That's just the things I've been picking up on. And I'm trying to reach out to her and teach her, like, hey, don't be in fear of those guys. There's something really off about people and stuff like that. So I just want to say, if you're one of those people that are being controlled by a group, um, you know, get to the have people behind the scenes getting to the bottom of it and looking at it for you and you alone so you can do your own thing because she is always a lot happier when she's doing her own thing. That's just something I picked up about her. But let's get into reading and we'll move on. We'll continue on. So all right, let me pull this down. But yeah, it's like everybody gets on the defensive and guard about her because she I don't know. I feel like there's some aspect of control of Melanie Mac's life that's going on that's not picked up on the internet, and I can see it, and I'm sure a couple others can see it. But there's something strange going on with her, and I've noticed it for a while, and I noticed it within you know I take notice that Brittany Venti isn't going through things as much, but she doesn't even get pulled into some groups sometimes. So it's just something I picked up and noticed. So Israel fights the remaining Canaanites, chapter 1. After the death of Joshua, the Israelites asked the Lord, who of you is going up first to fight the Canaanites? The Lord answered, Judah shall go up. I have given the land into their hands. Then the men of Judah had said to the Simeonites, their fellow Israelites, come up with us into the territory allotted to us to fight against the Canaanites. We in turn will go into yours. So the Simeonites went with them. When Judah attacked the Lord, gave the Canaanites and Perizzites into their hands, and they struck down 10,000 men at Bezek. It was there they found Adonah Bezek, and fought against him, putting to rout the Canaanites and Perizzites. Adonah Bezek fled, but they chased him and caught him and cut off his thumb and big toes. Then Adonai Bezek said, 70 kings, with their thumbs and big toes cut off, have picked up scraps under my table. Now God has paid me back for what I did. They brought him to Jerusalem, and he died there. The men of Judah attacked Jerusalem also and took it. They put the city to the sword and set it on fire. After that, Judah went down to fight again. The Canaanites living in the hill country of Negev and the western foothills, they advanced against the Canaanites living in Hebron, formerly called Kathra Arab, and defeated Seshai, Hayaman, and Talmai. From there, they advanced against the people living in Debri, formerly called Karath Sephir. And Caleb said, I will give my daughter Akash in a marriage to the man who attacked the captured Kesharath Sephir, Othniel, son, to Kazan, Caleb's younger brother, took it, so Caleb gave his daughter Akash to him in marriage. So, as you can see, the opening to this book is pretty vicious already. So, one day when she came to Othniel, she urged him to ask her father for a field. When she got to when she got off the donkey, Caleb asked her, "What can I do for you?" She replied, "Do you do me a special favor, since you have given me the land of Negev. Give me also springs of water." So Caleb gave her the upper and lower springs. The descendants of Moses' father-in-law, the Kenites, went up from the city of Palms with the people of Judah to live among the inhabitants of the of the desert to Judah in Negev near Arad. The men of Judah went with the Semenites. Their fellow Israelites attacked the Canaanites living in Zephath, and they totally destroyed the city. Therefore, it was called Hormah. Judah also took Gaza, Ashkelon, and Ekron, each city with its territory. The Lord was with the man of Judah. They took possession of the hill country, but they were unable to drive the people from the plains because they had chariots fitted with iron, as Moses promised. Hebron was given to Caleb, who dove from it the 3 sons of Anak. Benjamin, however, did not drive out the Jebusites, who were living in Jerusalem to this day. The Jebusites lived there with the Benjamites. Now the tribes of Joseph attacked Bethel. The Lord was with them when they sent men to spy out Bethel, formerly called Luz. The spies saw a man coming out of the city, and they said to him, "Show us how to get into the city, and we will see that you are treated well." So he showed them, and they put the city to the sword and speared the man and his whole family. Then he then went to the land of the Hittites, where he built a city and called it Luz, which is its name to this day. But Manasseh did not drive out the people of Beth Shan, or Tanakh, or Dor, or Ibleam, or Migdal, and their surrounding settlements, for the Canaanites were determined to live in a land where Israel became strong. They pressed the Canaanites into forced labor, but never drove them out completely. Nor did Ephraim drive out the Canaanites living in Gezer, but the Canaanites continued to live there among them. Neither did Zebulun drive out the Canaanites living in Catharos, or Nohala. So these Canaanites lived among them, but Zebulun did subject to them to forced labor. Nor did Asher drive out those living in Koa, or Sidon, and Ablah, or Kazib, or Helabah, or Apaka, or Harab. The Asherites lived among the Canaanites, inhabitants of the land, because they did not drive them out. Neither did Naphtali drive out those living in Beth Shemesh or Beth Anath, but the Naphtali's too lived among the Canaanites, inhabitants of the land, and those living in Beth Shemesh and Beth Anath became forced laborers for them. The Amorites confined the Dentes to the hill country, not allowing them to come down into the plain, and the Amorite were determined also to hold out in Mount Heres, Ajalon, and Shilben. But when the power of the tribes of Joseph increased, they were pressed into forced labor. The boundary of the Ammonites from the Scorpion Pass to Shelah and beyond. So, as you can see, they're in a war right now. That's what this one's about, actually. You'll notice that a lot of the chapters in Judges, I think they're all pretty much based around war and stuff that goes on, because there's a part coming up really soon. I think it's very soon. I don't know how far into the book we are. Um, we're gonna get when it happens, but there's a lady that ends up being an important factor in this, and boy, she does some real damage. She really does damage. So, all right. So, chapter 2, the angel of the Lord, Bachem. The angel of the Lord of Gilead to Bachem said, "Oh, the angel of the Lord at Bachem is what it's called. Sorry. I brought you up out of Egypt and led you into the land I swore to give to your ancestors. I said, I will never break my covenant with you, and shall not make a covenant with the people of this land. But you shall break their altars, yet you disobeyed me. Why have you done this? And I have also said, I will not drive them out before you. They will become traps for you, and their gods will become snares to you." When the angel of the Lord had spoken these things to all Israelites, the people wept aloud, and they called the place Bochim. There they offered sacrifices to the Lord, disobedient and defeat. After Joshua had dismissed the Israelites, and they took possession of the land, each of their own inheritance, the people served the Lord throughout the lifetime of Joshua and of the elders who outlived him and who had seen him all the great things of the Lord had done for Israel. Joshua, son of Nun, servant of the Lord, died at the age of 110, and they buried him in the land of his inheritance at the Teneth Heres in the hill country of Ephraim, north of Mount Gaash. After the whole generation had been gathered to their ancestors, and another generation grew up, who knew neither the Lord nor what he had done for Israel, then the Israelites did evil in the eye of the Lord, and served the Baals. They forsook the Lord, the God of their ancestors, and they brought them out of Egypt. They followed and worshipped various gods of the people's ground and of the people's various gods of the peoples around them. they aroused the Lord's anger because they forsook him and served Baal and the Asheroth. In the anger against Israel, the Lord gave them into the hands of raiders who plunder them. He sold them into the hands of their enemies around them, who were no longer able to resist. However, Israel went out to fight and had the Lord God against them to defeat them, as he had sworn to them. They were in great distress. Then the Lord raised up. Then the Lord raised up judges who saved them out of the hand of the raiders. They yet they would not listen to the judges, but prostitute themselves to other gods and worship them. They quickly turned from the ways of their ancestors who had been obedient to the Lord's commands. Whenever they raised up a judge for them, he was with the judge and saved them out of the hands of the enemy. As long as the judge lived, the Lord relented because they're groaning under those who oppressed and afflicted them. But when the judge died, the people turned corrupt to ways of even more. When the judge died, people turned to ways more corrupt than those of the ancestors, following other gods and serving and worshiping them. They refused to give up the evil practices and stubborn ways. Okay, so let me pause there for a second. What they just said about all that, that's true. People stuck in really, really, dark ways, practicing paganism, magic, and all that. It's hard to get them to understand that, it's hard to get them to break out of that, especially because it all looks enticing to the human eye. And what I mean by that is like, okay, I said this yesterday, and I've been saying this a lot. Also, you take a look at somebody walking down the street. You can go out like Orlando, Florida. Orlando, Florida is just like a place for that. There's a lot of that going on here, where people are out there wearing these like crystal stones as necklaces and stuff like that. That's a form of paganism right there. And anytime I see it, people think it's okay. But if they sat here and actually listened to the Bible, they would understand it's not okay. I don't know where this idea is coming from or anything like that. And I don't know where people are like, people say it's all peace and stuff like that. The reality of the truth is the Bible has no peace. Well, the Bible doesn't have peace like everybody says. This book that we're reading right here, Judges, is one of the darkest books in the Bible, and you'll see that. You can already hear it from the beginning when we started about how somebody got their thumbs and toes cut off, that kind of stuff. It's pretty rough when it comes down to it. So, at the end of the day, people need to stop thinking they know everything and start listening and understanding, because that's our big problem. Is when people start assuming they know everything instead of listening and paying attention, or listening and paying attention, we get ourselves stuck in an idea that we think we know. We got it understood. We got it all figured out. The reality of the truth is, no, you don't. If you did, if you did sit there and listen and pay attention, you would pay attention that God's telling you something else that you need to be working on, or something like that. Sometimes we're fully unaware of it, and that's part of like where, me as a person, if I see something's wrong or off, I go and say something about it, and I try to make people understand that's not exactly what is going on. You need to think a little bit about what's going on here before you make that judgment call. So, all right. Therefore the Lord was angry with Israel and said, because this nation has violated the covenant I'd ordained for their ancestors and not listened to me, I will no longer drive out before them any of the nations Joshua left when he did. I will use them to test Israel and see whether they will keep the way of the Lord and walk in it as the ancestor did. The Lord had allowed those nations to remain and out did not drive them out at once by giving them into the hands of Joshua. All right. So I just had an epiphany pop into my head. But you know, a lot of people there's I don't know if you noticed, but people not recently, but for a while have been saying God is dead. That's not true. But why are people saying that? Are they saying that to get people away from the Bible and stuff like that? You know, are they say that? I mean, I feel like that's what's being said. Is it's a persuasion to get people away from the Bible and all that. It's just, I don't know. It's just something that just randomly came into my mind as I was like talking about and reading this. You know, it's. I know. Oh, okay. So they probably are doing it because they think God is dead, and that's why they transitioned over to a new religion or something like that. That's just, I don't know, just something that popped in my head. Chapter 3. These are the nations the Lord left to all the test all those Israelites who had experienced any of the wars in Canaan. He did this only to teach warfare to the descendants of the Israelites who had not traversed battle experience. The 5 rulers of the Philistines, all Canaanites, the Sidonians, and the Hivitites, living in Lebanon mountains, from Mount Baal Huram to Leba Hamath, they were left to test the Israelites to see whether they would obey the Lord's command, which he had given their ancestors through Moses. The Israelites lived among the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivitites, Jebusites. They took their daughter in marriage and gave their own daughter to their sons, and served their gods. Othniel. The Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord. They forgot the Lord their God and served the Baals and the Asherahs. The anger of the Lord burned against the Israelites. Israel burned against Israel, so that he sold them into the hands of Kashan, Heshrah, Tamai, king of Aram, and Nerah, to whom the Israelites were subject for 8 years. But when they cried out to the Lord, he raised up for them a deliverer of Othniel, son of Kenaz, Caleb, younger brother, who saved them. The Spirit of the Lord came to him, so that he became Israel's judge and went to war. The Lord gave Cushan, Hisharam, Hisharetham, king of the king of Aram, into the hands of Othniel, who overpowered him. So the land had peace for 40 years, until Othniel, son of Keznah, died. Ehud. Again the Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord, and because they did evil, the Lord gave Eglon, king of Moab, power over Israel, getting the Ammonites and Amalekites to join them. Eglon came and attacked Israel, and he took possession of the city of Psalms. The Israelites were subject to Eglon, king of Moab, for 18 years. Again, the Israelites cried out to the Lord, and he gave them a deliverer. Ehud, a left-handed man, the son of Gerar, the Benjamites, the Israelites sent him with tribute to Eglon, king of Moab, son of Ehud, had made a double-edged sword about a cubit long, which he strapped to his right thigh under his clothing. He presented the tribes of Eglon, king of Moab, who was a very fat man. After Ehud had presented the tribe, he sent on their way those who had carried it, but on reaching the stone image near Gilead, he himself went back to Eglon and said, "Your Majesty, I have a secret message for you." So this guy looks like he's this guy looks like he's about to make mischief or something bad's gonna happen to him or something. I'm not sure, but we'll find out. All right, let me take a drink of my energy drink here, and we'll keep going. All right, and let me check one more thing here, so that way. All right. Um. All right. Let's go back to what I was doing here. I had to respond to something real quick. All right. The king said to his attendants, "Leave us," and they all left. Ehud then approached him while he was sitting alone in the upper room of the palace, and said, "I have a message from God for you." As the king rose from his seat, Ehud reached with his hand, drew the sword from his right thigh, and plundered it into the king's belly. Even the handle sank in after the blade, and his bowels discharged. Ehud did not pull the sword out, and the fat closed in over it. Then Ehud went out to the porch. He shut the door of the upper room behind him and locked them. After he had gone, the servants came, found the door of the upper room locked. They said, uh, he must be reliving himself in the inner room of the palace. They waited to the point of embarrassment, but when he did not open the door of the room, They took the key and unlocked them. They were there. They saw their fallen lord of the fallen lord to the floor. Uh, there they saw their lord fall into the floor dead. While they waited, Ehud got away, and he passed by the stone image and escaped to Sarai. When he arrived there, he blew a trumpet in the hill country of Ephraim and took the Israelites. Ephraim and the Israelites went down with him from the hill, with him leading them. Follow me, he ordered. The Lord has given Moab, your enemy, into your hands. So they followed him down and took possession of the fords of the Jordan that led to Moab. They allowed no one to cross over at that time. They struck down 10,000 Moabites and all vigorous and strong. Not one escaped. That day Moab was made subject to Israel, and the land had peace for 80 years. Shemgar, after Ehud came Shemgar son of Anath, who struck down 600 Philistines with an ox god. He too saved Israel. So back if you go back, that was wild. A king died because God told him to kill him. And this next one is right, so this guy, like, he's very strong. He took down a lot of people. All right, so that was short. So that last part was short. All right. So we're on the last one now. I didn't really think we were on 4 yet, but we're on 4 right now. That's wild. All right. That just goes to show you we're moving along fast. All right. So chapter 4, and that's it. Last play. There we go. All right. Deborah, chapter 4. Again, the Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord. Now that Ehud was dead, so the Lord sold them into the hand of Jabin, king of Canaan, who reigned in Hazar. Sisrai, the commander of his army, was based out of Harathite in Haggaim, because he had 900 chariots fitted with iron, and had cruelly oppressed the Israelites for 20 years. They cried to the Lord for help. Now Deborah, a prophet, the wife of Liphad, was leading Israel at this time. At the time, she held court under the palm of Deborah between Rehem, and Bethel in the hill country of Ephraim, and the Israelites went up to her to have their dispute decided. She sent on Barak, son of Abinoami, and Kadesh and Naphtali, and said to him, "The Lord, the God of Israel, commanded you, go take with you 10,000 men of Naphtali and Zebulun, and lead them up the mount Tabor. I will lead Sisera, the commander of Jabin, army with his chariot and his troops of Kesharon. river and give him into the hands. Barak said to him, if you go with me, I will go, but if you don't go with me, I won't go. Certainly I will go with you, said, because of the course you are taking, the honor will not be yours, for the Lord will deliver Sisera into the hands of a woman. So Deborah went with Barak to Kadesh. There Barak, son of Zebulun and Naphtali, and 10,000 men went up under his command. Deborah also went up with him. Now Heber the Kenite had left the other Kenites, the descendants of Hobab, Moses' brother-in-law, and pitched his tent by the great tree of Zenonim near Kadesh. They were told Sarai that Barakah, son of Abimino, Abim, Nomah, and had gone up to the Mount Tabor. Sisari, summoned from Hazeroth, Hagoyim, and Keshon River, all his men, and his 900 chariots fitted with iron. Deborah said to Barak, go, this is the day the Lord has given Sisera into your hands. Has not the Lord gone ahead of you? So Barak went down Mount Tabor with 10,000 men following him. At Barak's advance, the Lord routed Sisera and all his chariots and men by the sword, and Sisera got down from his chariots and fled on foot. Barak pursued the chariots and army as far as Hazeroth Hagoyim. All the Sisera's troops fell by the sword. Not a man was left. Sisera, meanwhile, fled on foot to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber, and Kenet, because there was an alliance between Jabin, king of Hazor, and the family of Heber, the Kenet. Jael went out to meet Sisera and said to him, come, my lord, come right in. Do not be afraid. So he entered her tent and covered him with a blanket. I'm thirsty, he said. Please give me some water. She opened a skin of milk, gave him a drink, and covered him up. Stand in the doorway of the tent, he told her. If someone comes by and asks you, is anyone in there, say no. But Jael, Heber's wife, picked up a tent peg and hammer and went quickly to him. After he laid fast asleep, exhausted, she drove the peg through the temple into the ground, and he died. Just then Barak came by in pursuit of Sisera, and Jael went out to meet him. Come, she said, I will show you the man who's you're looking for. So he went in with her, and there lay Sisera with a tent peg through him in his temple, dead. On that day God subdued Jabin, king of Canaan, before the Israelites, and the hand of the Israelites pressed harder and harder against Jabin, king of Canaan, until they destroyed him. So right there's the story about I was talking about, where Jael, I think that's how her name is pronounced, she ended up killing. That always stuck out to me for some reason. I don't know why that story sticks out to me, and I think it's because it's so brutally harsh. To think that he hid there and then she turned around and just killed him in sleep like that. Um, it's just wild. It's wild. This whole like book is wild. So we're progressively moving along, which is really, really good. This book, Judges, is very short though. Yeah, Judges is short. Ruth is short. Judges is a 21. Ruth is very short. I'll get through Ruth in one reading. But as you can see there, Deborah is just very, very like that's a dark story. That's very, very dark. um, so yeah, that's it for the day. Let's see what I'm at. All right, 12:18. I started. Okay, so I'm good. I started at 11:30 today. Um, yeah, I overslept this morning. I was like, and I almost overslept because I was up so late last night, and I was just up late, like doing a stream, looking at reels here. So if you get the chance, come in tonight, and we'll look at reels with you guys. Um, and so yeah, it's just I stay up really late, and I need to try to start going to bed early. It's just like I'm so used to being up late at night that my body is like set for that, and it's really hard to break my body of that. It's weird when people it's weird. It's hard for me to do it because of my job and getting home so late. If I wasn't getting home as late as I was, if let's just say I was getting out of work and getting home like 10 minutes, like getting home after like 10 o'clock. I would stay up until like probably midnight or like 1 in the morning and go to sleep, but more likely midnight just to try to set my sleep back to normal. It's just I'm up late at night because I work I work a job and then it takes me like a long time to get home because I don't drive. So I have a bicycle that I ride to work and it takes me a long time. And so like I'm exercising consistently, yes, but going to sleep early is not something I can do because of the fact I get home so late here. And then when I get home, I stay up and do a few things before I decide to go to sleep. Um, and just I'm up late at night. So it's just something that I can't help. And maybe when I'm old, it'll change. I don't know yet. But I hope one day I can change it up and try to go to sleep early at some point. I did try it before, and I think what really really threw me out of like whack with the changes in everything is that like I used to work at a job where I was up all night. So like that really threw off my sleep. I used to work at Walmart stocking shelves overnight long ago, and ever since that I haven't been able to sleep like normal. And the night shift is like it it's different. It's different. Let's just say that. It's not bad different, but like the night shift was like interesting and it really threw my sleep off. So that's why people think it's weird that I'm up so late at night, but I can't help it because of my sleep just thrown off. So um but yeah, Judges, we see how like it gets dark. We saw three different stories with 30 different people. Um doing very very dark stuff, but it was all because of what the Lord had told them to do, or they were following something that needed to be done. Um, just to you know just to make the story go on. The Bible itself and all that. So like again, Judges is a dark book. If you have not read Judges in the book, that might at least lead you into wanting to read the Bible. If you are into reading really dark stuff and all that. You know, uh, but as for me, well, yeah, I'm still having trouble processing. Like I'm processing everything, but I'm not fully awake because I fell asleep so late and I woke up and I'm still kind of out of it. Um, so earlier on, I was talking about something about like about being suspicious, sitting on the outside and looking at something as a whole. Okay. So I brought this up earlier, but when you're watching, when you're following, when you're on social media, okay? you get a fan base following, okay? And I don't necessarily cling to people who have a huge fan base. I don't normally do that. What I do is I try to get a feeling for what they're about. But there's something off about people who have huge fan bases that really just it just doesn't seem right sometimes, and it seems like some of them are doing something really off. So, and I noticed that, you know, with certain YouTubers, when they get in trouble, they get pulled into these things, and they get invited onto their shows and stuff like that. It's like, and what I felt happened, and it's just me just speculating out of all this because, like, you know, YouTubers Twitch went down. All right. Um, I'm not gonna specify who here, but it happened, unfortunately. And anytime that kind of stuff happens, that's when that group of people will end up calling her back because there was drama. They needed drama to talk about. They use it for clout. So I'm one of those people who noticed that, like, anytime that person gets in trouble or like has something happen to them, they end up like going back to those groups. And you know, I'm one of those people who, like, if somebody wants to talk about drama that I had going on, by all means talk about it. But when it comes down to it, like, I have things happen to me all the time. Like, one of my Twitter account is gone right now. Nobody invites me on to a YouTube channel or anything like that, and it's because the people on YouTube, some of them are very, how do I want to say? Some of them are very not cool, like you would say. Now, let's take a let's take one group for example. You got a group of people out there that's gaming. Um, you know, a group like Spawncast doesn't talk about people's drama of their platform, of them going down on the platform. A group there's I'm not gonna mention a name here, but I'm specifically talking about a one particular group that does this every single time there is drama. All right, take notice to that. But a group like Spawnwave doesn't ever talk about people's drama. They don't invite people in the show. They never, like, it's just weird. There's never drama with the gaming, with those gamers. Okay, but when there's drama with a certain other individual, and I see that there's drama going on, I always do this. I wait to see what's going to happen. And I wait to see, because I have no clue who reported Melanie Mack on the thing. And I'm suspicious if her group of people that invite her onto shows every time there's drama reported her. Because it's just weird how they always bring her onto the show every time there's drama going on. Like, as if they find out and they're like, "Oh, Melanie, you're having a bad day. Let's talk about it." Like, and it's like, and it gets them clout, and that's why I don't like that. And that's why I don't like that particular group of people, because they always do it every time she has a downfall. It's like, when I have a downfall, or when somebody else on the internet has a downfall, nobody gives a shit. No, sorry. Pardon me, Lord. Please forgive me. But nobody cares. Brittany Venti, she said her Twitter account got shadow banned. None of those people cared. Do you see the point I'm making here? It all revolves around them being shady. And you'll notice it. Like, if something happens to Melanie Mack again, you'll notice it again. It's like clockwork. Every time it happens, they all rush her and they'll be like, "Oh, Melanie, we're for you, and we stand by your side." It looks like you're reporting her to get attention. No offense. It looks like you're reporting her to get attention. You guys are weird like that. You guys will sabotage your own people from the looks of it sometimes too, to get clout. And that's just not me saying that. That's just something you can notice from afar and from the outside by looking in. They don't ever invite Brittany Venti onto their show for anything. But they'll invite Melanie Mack onto the show because guess what? Melanie Mack has a bigger follower base. They want that following base. They want those followers. When Brittany Venti goes under and gets reported, you'll notice that they don't even bother to say anything to her or acknowledge her. It's so extremely weird that that happens. Because yesterday I noticed that Brittany Venti had something happen with her. And I think what she was doing it to see how many people would acknowledge her because Melanie Mack just went to her event. I don't know how that goes with her. I don't know if that's like, I don't know what that's about. But I will say this. I don't look at Melanie Mack for her problems or anything like that. I look at Melanie Mack because, I follow Melanie Mack. I'm a fan of hers. But when she goes down, yes, I get concerned. Same thing with Brittany Venti. I get concerned. I don't treat them unequally. If I'm following somebody else, like let's just say RGT went in there, I'd be a bit concerned. I'd be like, man, I can't see RGT's videos anymore, stuff like that. And so it goes full circle. You got to look at what's going on and who people are associating with and how they're associating with those people, because those guys don't care about anybody outside their group of people. They care about Melanie Mack because they're gonna get clout off her because she's been on the spectrum for a while. You know, it's all a show. It's all about getting clout and feeling special to them. That's all it's really about. And I don't know how else to say it, but I think they're shady as heck. And I don't think they're very, very good people, to be honest. You know, they try to utilize it so they get hot women to follow them because they're a group of guys. And that's the other thing you'll pick up and notice. It's just something to acknowledge and see. Um, but anyway, um, so I'm gonna say a prayer and get out of here. So Lord Jesus Christ, make Melanie Mack aware of what's going on. Make her see that she is being used for clout, Lord. And also, Lord, make sure she understands that she needs to probably work on going on in a separate way. And tell her to get her to acknowledge that Brittany Venti isn't getting pulled onto the show either, Lord. There's a method to what these guys are doing, and I want Melanie Mack to notice it, Lord. Lord, if you could also please, help me progress in YouTube and help me progress in every other way, Lord, I would highly appreciate it. Bless me with the power of moving forward. Bless Brittany Venti. Bless Melanie Mack. Bless everybody from Spawnwave, Spawncast. Lord, uh, please put some light in our lives and, protect us, protect people. Bless people that really need it today, Lord. Bless those who bless others. And Lord, if anybody's casting curses, put blessings in their life instead. In Jesus' name, amen. So there you go. There you have it. I'm done for the day. Take it easy, and I am out of here. God bless you. And I'll be back later on today for a stream. I'm about to go record my Bible short and go do a few things and then come back and, do the stream for you guys. I'm going to try work on my comic book a little bit today. So, all right.